morning, it's Kay Cutoff, and we're going to do a stamp and chat with Kay. It's great to see you guys. I already see some of my faves online. Thank you for giving me a little shout out. Hello, hello. Well, I have a daughter getting married this year. Fingers crossed that that happens. I mean, I know she's going to get married, but, you know, it's kind of with COVID. The big bad COVID. Oh, you're already sharing. Well, I have a pretty big giveaway today. Like, I have never done this kind of a giveaway before, so it's a big, big one. Let me show you what I'm giving away. It's not cut up yet, but this is going to be the giveaway. It is our From My Heart Specialty Designer Series paper, and I have an entire full pack. I'm going to cut it into 6x6, and then the winner is going to get half a pack cut into 6x6. The reason I'm cutting it into 6x6 so it'll actually be this size is so that I can mail it easier, because I don't think I really want to spend, you know, $8 to mail it out, since it's already a pretty good gift. So it'll be 6x6 papers. Good morning. Oh wow, we have people watching from all over the place. Welcome. It's good to have you here. Oh my goodness, am I crooked? Or maybe it's my iPad that's crooked. Let me just, oh well. I'll fix it when we put the camera down. Good morning. Oh, you guys are so nice. Okay, so how do you get in the drawing? You just have to share. So what you can share is this video, or either now or later, just share it to your timeline or maybe to some of your fun stamping groups. Go ahead, share it. And then come back and let me know that you've shared it. Another thing you can do is just comment, let me know where you're watching from. I always love to see people from all over the country. And actually I have customers from all over the country too. So it's really exciting when my customers jump on. I have downline members from all over the country. I love seeing them jump on and watch these lives. So thank you, everybody. It's a great morning here in Minnesota. The sun is shining. We might get up to 60, I can't remember, was it 62? Something like that. But our evenings are still nice and cool, like in the 40s for most of the week here, I think. But nice weather, a nice little stretch of weather for us Minnesotans. Okay, well, you know what I'm going to do? I've got a couple cards to share with you. I need another sip of coffee. I held off having my second cup of coffee today so I could have it with you. The first 2 cups didn't count. They were smaller cups, so I said to Steve, that counts as 1. So this is the size I really like to have, the really big cups. Oh gosh. Okay, so let's go ahead, and I'm going to share these cards with you. One is from a watcher. And of course, you know things are going to be exciting when you go out to the mailbox and you find this, a decorated envelope. How beautiful and fun. So this card is from Karen Troop, and she is from Delaware, and she is one of my watchers, and she said she created this card with some that's current, some that's not so current, but it's a really pretty card. I think you'll take a lot of inspiration from it. You might recognize some of this paper from a long, long time ago. So here's the card. That's lovely, isn't it? Do you remember those little in-color bows that we had? I was just crazy about those, and my customers were too. So she's lucky to still have some of those. Oh, I see lots of hearts. Yes, I agree. It's so bright and cheerful and fun. It really, really lights up the studio when you put this card on display. I love it. And let's go ahead and look at the other card that I got that I want to share with you. It is pretty much a masterpiece. Oh boy, wait till you see this. Well, again, the envelope was decorated. You guys are all so much better at this than I am. I'm very impressed with your envelope decorating skills. And this card is from my downline member, Kathy Galloway. Let me just check. She is from Arkansas. She makes the most amazing, crazy, beautiful, gorgeous extremely scintillating to look at cards. So I'm going to show it to you. In fact, I think I even have to stand up because I have to do a super close-up on this card. So, are you ready? It is so beautiful. I have to make sure I'm getting it in the camera. I feel like I'm not. I am so sorry. Maybe I'm holding it too close. But isn't it something? Oh my gosh, the joyful burst of colors. I mean, it looks like something that should be in a museum gallery. It's just so beautiful. And so she's using the Ornate Garden Suite, but then she did just a ton of amazing coloring and sponging, and oh my gosh, I can't even tell you. She ordered the entire product suite of the Ornate Garden, and she has used a couple of the different borders together. I just want to point that out because I think that's so unique. Wait a minute, I need another swig of coffee here. Yeah, Kathy is really quite remarkable. And then she also, I don't know, she put some kind of a gloss or something over the top of some of the little flowers there that stick up. Oh my gosh. I mean, this is incredible. And then she decorated the inside panel of the card too. She used a lot of, just a lot of beautiful color. I love the smoky slate in the background here. It really pops the Bermuda Bay and the pool party. So really quite something. So Kathy, this is one of my forever cards. I will never be passing this on to anybody else. This will live in my house. So it is really gorgeous. Thank you so much. All right, so let's go ahead and here are the cards we're going to make today. They're kind of really simple and boring compared to Kathy's card, but oh well, you have to take me for who I am. Here they are, and they are really fun. It's another way for you to use your Valentine papers to make some pretty shower cards. So we're going to use both of these papers for shower cards. All right, so let's go ahead. I will flip this camera down and we will go ahead and get started here. So give me a second. All right, I think that looks pretty good. Oh, Karen just joined us. Karen, I just showed off your card. You're going to have to rewatch the play and see your beautiful card that I showed off today. So thank you very much. It is gorgeous and I just loved it. So nice of you to send me a card. All right, so let's go ahead and make these cards. The stamp set is actually part of a bundle in our January through June catalog. It's called Under My Umbrella. I've had a ton of customers order it. Oh my gosh, where is the punch? Oh, hold on, it's across the room here. Okay, so here's the punch. We are ready to go now. Sorry about that. I should have a checklist before I get started. So here it is. It's the bundle that you can find in our January through June Stampin' Up! Catalog, the little mini catalog that Stampin' Up! Sends out twice a year. And it's lovely. It's so fun. And so there is a lot of good sayings on here. One of them is showered with love. So I thought, well, of course, a umbrella card works with a bridal shower card and a baby shower card. So let's go ahead and make a couple bridal shower cards. We're going to be using the From My Heart Specialty Designer Series paper, which coordinates with that punch duo that you can get. But we're going to be using this one, this little arrows and falling hearts. And we're going to, there's two papers that look sort of the same, but they're actually not. One has a white background and one has kind of a pinkish background. We're going to use the one with the pinkish background. But a lot of these would work, and they're just so cute. So if you have Valentine paper to use up, consider using this bundle with your Valentine's paper to make some bridal shower cards. Now, I happen to have a lot of bridal showers coming up, not only for my daughter, but for some of her friends that are also getting married. So I know I'll be able to put these to good use. So what we're going to need first is our card base, and we are going to be using Flirty Flamingo. So I'm going to grab my bone folder here. And we'll just get these ready so that we can start working with these. These are we'll make 2 cards because I do 2 giveaways. 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. So pretty simple to get ready, not really a big deal. And the next, okay, now here's where it's going to get tricky. We are going to do some layering up. So I've got some real red paper, and we're going to layer that up with our designer series paper. Let me just show you here. Yeah, crazy. Now this isn't too crazy. So the designer series paper you're going to cut at 3 3/4 by 5 inches. So I cut that at 3 7/8 by 5 1/8 for the perfect size border for these cards. All right, so we're going to take this and we're going to go ahead, and I'll just use some snail here. We'll just put snail on the back. And we're just going to center these into our real red panels. I mean, honestly, they could probably work for Valentine's, but I think if it's not the Valentine season, if you're giving this card in June at a bridal shower, I don't think anyone's going to think Valentine's. I think they're going to think, "Aw, isn't that a cute card? I love that." That's what they're going to think. All right. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add some ribbon because we have to anchor our image. We are going to have a couple of squares that we're going to layer up. We're going to layer up the umbrella. And we can't just throw this onto the middle of the card. We have to have something that it can attach to so it doesn't look like it's floating in outer space or in card space. So we are going to grab some real red cotton ribbon, which is a lovely ribbon to work with. So let me get my ribbon scissors. And all I do for my ribbon scissors is I just take a regular Stampin' Up! Paper snips and I put a couple of chalk marks on it so that I know I'm only using the scissors for ribbon, because nothing will dull your paper snips faster than paper. And if you just cut paper, it's fine because the paper, I don't know, it works fine. But if you take a scissors and you cut paper and then you try to cut ribbon over a very short period of time, your scissors will not cut the ribbon very well. So I recommend having 2 scissors, one for ribbon, one for paper. Now to anchor this, we want to put it a little bit above halfway. So you can just eyeball this. It's not an exact science, although you probably question that coming from me because I am kind of one of those really sickeningly exacting kind of people. But yeah, so there we go. A little bit over halfway eyeballed. We'll do the same thing for this one. Just a little bit over halfway. Now you'll probably wonder why, in addition to having my daughter getting married and some of her friends, another reason I made this card is because every month for my downline I try to come up with a special card to give them for my top 10 in sales. So this particular card was my top 10 in sales for the month of March. So so this past month, this is what I passed out to my top 10. All right, and it looks just lovely. That is done. The next thing we need to do is we need to get some scrap vellum. So grab the cardstock vellum, and then you're going to take the layering squares. Honestly, you guys, I know some of you have been looking at the retirement list from Stampin' Up! And you've been getting a lot of questions and directing them to me. So I thank you for that, especially my customers. Of course, you're going to come to me with your questions, which I really appreciate. Couple of things. The blends are not retiring. They're being reconfigured. And your layering dies are also not retiring. They are being adjusted so that I don't know, it sort of looks like everything's retiring, but it's really not everything is retiring. So if you have something, a specific question about something that you see that's retiring and you're like panicking about it, just email me or text me or call me or something, and I will either put your fears to rest or I will just commiserate with you on the bad news. I don't know what your questions are, but let me know and I'll do my best to answer them. So anyway, these are our I can't even talk today. These are our layering squares from Stampin' Up. I love them. They're $35. So sometimes people look at that price point and think, oh my gosh, it's a lot of money for some dies. But think of how much that would cost if it was all punches. Oh my gosh, you get so many shapes for your dollar. So you are getting 16 shapes for $35. That's just a teeny bit over $2 a shape, which I think is an incredibly good deal. So I love the layering squares. So back to what we were doing, which is making this card. You're going to take you can even cut these at the same time. You're going to take your scraps of very vanilla card, or of vellum cardstock, and then take your second largest scallop square and cut that out with your die cutting machine. So we're going to move this off to the side because I already did this in advance. Then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to take a couple of scraps of Whisper White paper, and you are going to just go to your cutter and cut a 2 1/4 inch square. So I have cut 2 of them because I'm doing 2 cards. So what I do, so that I know I have my squares lined up, so that I know my sentiment is not going to be kilty corner, use a grid paper or any kind of grid pattern so that you can make sure that the top and the bottom are all on one line. Because the first time I didn't do that, and when I stamped my Showered with Love, and I was doing this for a bunch of cards, I realized I stamped about half of them kind of off kilter, and it didn't look very nice, and I had to redo it. So here we go. We have our Showered with Love sentiment. Just inking it up in real red ink. And we're just going to set this, I don't know, just off to the right. Give it a little press here. And it's perfect. Not quite perfect. We'll flip it over. Why? Because I got ink. See how I inked this all up? I got ink on my card base. So I'm going to try it again on the other side. One more time, and this time I won't rock it. It's really important that you don't rock. So we're going to set it here, give it a second to soak in, do not rock, and there it is. It turned out perfect. So now we're going to do the same thing to this other one. And we'll set it here. Give it a second to soak in. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so now we also have to stamp. A piece of scrap paper in Flirty Flamingo. So here it is, my scrap paper in Flirty Flamingo. And we've got our little umbrella topper. So Yvonne's telling me she needs the square dies. Yes, 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 you do, Yvonne. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take this umbrella, and we're just going to stamp it here on the Flirty Flamingo, again using real red ink. Just give it a second to soak in. Do another one on this side. And again, just give it a second to soak in. And there it is. Now we're going to take that ever elusive punch that I couldn't find there for a while, and we are going to punch out these umbrella toppers. So again, I always use my punches upside down. I'm sure you do too. But I remember when I was a new customer, I didn't know that little tip. So it was always kind of challenging to punch things out. So there we go. So we've got the first one done, and here's the second one. All right, let me get my scraps out of the way. Okay, now the rest of the card is going to go together pretty slickly. So let's go ahead and assemble. We are going to use some multi-purpose liquid glue, and we're going to apply glue here on the back of these layers and add them to our card bases. So we're just layering this up over the top, and then the glue is kind of nice because you can wiggle it into place and make sure all 4 borders are perfectly even. Do the same thing with this one. And then we're going to do our inside panels just so that we don't forget. And I'm actually not going to stamp a sentiment on the inside. You certainly could if you had something appropriate at home. I don't think I have anything appropriate. I mean, oh, I do. This very sentiment says it's your day. So, I mean, that would be very appropriate for a bridal shower. However, I'm going to leave it blank because maybe you don't want to use these as bridal showers. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it's not their day. Maybe they just need to hear from you and you're sending them a card. All right, so let's get out these pieces of Whisper White. That's what we're going to put on the inside, 4 by 5 1/4. And down here, I already put 1 in, but we want a 3/4 by 4 inch strip of Designer Series paper. That coordinates with our outside paper. So when we're putting these into the card, let's just double check and make sure we're getting the right Designer Series paper with the correct card. Wow, that fit perfect. You know, I do keep my handy dandy little paper punch, or my handy dandy little trimmer, just in case I do need to trim up any of my sentiments or my edges, but gosh, I measured good today. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to flip these over, add a little snail to the top, keep them nice and loose and elegant, and we're going to put this paper with this card to match the front. We'll just set this in here. Perfect. And we'll do the exact same thing to this one over here. Oh, thank you, Lynn. Lynn is telling me that the square dies are totally worth the investment. I agree. And you know, I was so scared when I opened up the retirement list yesterday because I was so scared that we would lose our layering dies because we've had them a long time. We have layering circles, layering ovals, layering squares. They're all 35 and they're worth every penny, and I use them all the time, all the time. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take dimensionals. We're going to use dimensionals on the back. So let me grab my set here. So we're actually going to dimensionalize this over the top of our vellum, but not quite yet because the vellum's actually going to go on first underneath the ribbon. So yeah, a little tricky business there for you, but I'll show you how to do that in a second. Let's just get some things ready. There we go. And now what we want to do for the vellum, if I can find everything here, is we're just going to add some vellum to the, snail to the back. And you're going to set it in, I don't know, what do you call this? It's not kitty corner. Is it perpendicular? I don't know. There's probably a word for, there's probably a geometric term for that, but I don't know it. So set it in, you know, kitty wampus. so that it's like that, not squared up, but like the opposite of being squared up, but still squared up, if you know what I mean. All right, so we're gonna just press that in because you want your ribbon over the top, you want your layer of vellum to be behind the ribbon. So we're gonna do the same thing over here. I never did very well in geometry. I have to tell you, I did so poorly that I came to the teacher for help when I was in 7th grade, and he felt so sorry for me. He said, I mean, this is kind of sad, but he said, okay, as long as you show up for class every day and you give it a good attempt, don't worry about failing. Oh, that probably wasn't the best thing to say, but that's what he told me. Oh my gosh. All right, so then we'll go ahead. I at least made the attempt to try to get some help, right? But apparently he thought I was beyond help. Oh gosh. Okay, so here we go. We have our vellum layers ready, and but I've always admired smart people. I mean, I married my husband. He's like the smartest person I know. He kind of takes a long time to make decisions, but he's super smart. I think less smart people, like me, for example, make decisions fairly quickly. I mean, don't always think it all the way through, but at least we're doing something, whereas my husband can ponder a really long time without doing anything, which kind of makes me crazy sometimes. But, you know, everybody's different. All right, so we're going to set this in and just put it like this so that all the layers are kind of evened up like that. There you have it. We'll do the same thing for this one. Oh, good. Linda, one of my downline members, telling me she was never good at geometry either. Isn't that funny? Because, yeah, we work with geometric shapes all the time in our Stampin' Up! Business. And it's like, we're always kind of like, sort of, I don't know, doing geometry with all of our card making and everything and all of the layouts and layers and measurements. I just don't know the terms. I don't really know how they relate to each other, but I can eyeball it. All right, so here are the cute little umbrellas. We have to have another piece of scrap paper here. So we've got our scrap of real red, and we're gonna grab that umbrella punch one more time. It keeps disappearing. And we're gonna kind of stick this in, and we're just punching out a handle. So I'm gonna do one more, since we're doing two. Okay, so here's our handles. And how in the world are we going to get that on there without getting glue everywhere? Well, we're going to use snail. We are also going to use our silicone mat because that is key. And so if I want my handles going to the right, you have to put the snail on the other side. So something to think about. As I also messed that up when I was doing these in advance for my downline. Okay, so here we go. So we're just going to add a little snail to the back. The silicone mat, the snail doesn't actually stick to the silicone mat, so it kind of works really well for putting snail onto things. And then what I do is I just make sure that little U-shaped part of the umbrella handle comes right under the S in the word showered. And then you know it's going to be in a good spot. So do the same thing over here. I know this because I put a whole bunch together for my team. And then I made extras for my personal use. And then I'm making these to give away. So I'm pretty familiar with this card. All right, so there we have our little umbrella handles on. Now the next thing we want to do is get our umbrella on here. So it has to be lifted up a little bit so that it matches this layer. So you're going to flip these over and you're going to put your umbrellas upside down on your table, and then you're going to take your dimensionals and you're only going to put one on, and you're going to put it on the left hand side if it's flipped over and facing away from you. And then put snail on this side because that's going to stick to this part here. So you will see how this all comes together beautifully in a second. And you're just going to set that on like so. I kind of tilted up a little bit. Looks happier when it's tilted up. And there's the first one. And here is the second one. Isn't it cute? Oh my gosh, I just love these cards. I hope you guys do too. This has been so much fun. For those of you that are my customers, I have a new host code that I've just put up in my newsletter. So if you're not already subscribed to my newsletter, I'll get a link here in a minute so you guys can get subscribed to my newsletter. But you can always find all kinds of information and current host codes at my blog, which is Stamping to Share. You guys have a great day. I really appreciate you, and thank you so much for all the love. I love seeing all the hearts. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.